So you are here today to be able to learn more about social media, and it doesn't feel like that long ago that I started my account here when my family and I moved from California here to Utah. And really my whole goal of this is to figure out how to build your business without feeling overwhelmed and really just kind of walk you through a step-by-step process of what I'm currently doing and then kind of rewind back to when I first started. So again, it's all just it's a learning experience, and hopefully these little, step by step, small little things will help you out. All right, so my goal today is for you to be able to learn about 4 different types of content that will attract your ideal client, and figuring out lead magnets and like how to be able to automatize your business and not have to continue to recreate the wheel every single time, and then just kind of the formula that I use to do this. All right. So with these things, like I said, we're going to look at 4 different content types that will have people follow you, save, and share your material. And the more people are doing that, the more your content is going to get pushed out, creating lead magnets, and then being able to fast track your content to like things, people that it's converting to. So one of the, little bit about me, I am a wife, mother of 4. I'm a real estate agent in Utah and then also in California, although in California, I refer out most of my deals there now just because I'm here in Utah. I'm an educator. I used to be an elementary school teacher. I taught for elementary school for 15 years. My husband and I bought our first property about 18, 19 years ago. And after we bought our first property, I looked at my husband and I was like, Eric, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm like, I have to get my real estate license. I cannot wait to get my real estate license. And so I kind of did this, like, I had my real estate license for 18 years. I was an elementary school teacher. I used my real estate license for the first decade very sparingly. And it's been like the last 10 years that I've been like, okay, this is fun. Because of my elementary teaching background, I love teaching. I love coaching. And being able, like for me, social media just seems like kind of a game. I was a college soccer player. I played at the University of Pacific. And so to me, leveraging Instagram and leveraging social media in your business is just a game. And so to me, it's like, oh, well, how can you do this? And how can, like, it just seems kind of strategic. And the more you know, the more you're able to, more you're able to be able to find your ideal clients. And speaking of ideal clients, I thought this was so serendipitous that I got a message yesterday on Instagram from a lady who literally would be like my ideal client. And she sends me a text and she's like, hey, you're never going to believe this, but Instagram put your feed in my, like, basically like, fed my feed to her. She's like, I've been thinking, she goes, I live in Southern California. She goes, I'm a mom of 3. I'm a faith believing woman. All these different things. And she's like, Utah has just been on my heart the last month. And I've been talking with my husband. We have a trip planned this coming month. And all of a sudden, your Instagram account pops up in my feed. And she's like, is there any chance we can talk? We talked yesterday for like 45 minutes. She's a twin mom, just like me. Like, she's got boy-girl twins. I've got boy-girl twins, lives in Southern California, but grew up in Northern California, just like me. So literally like all these different things. And it just is amazing what the algorithm can really do when you're putting out information to your ideal client. And she said the one video that came up, the one reel that came up on her feed was something about, it was like me driving in a car, and it said something like point of view. This could be your commute when you're, driving, instead of driving from California to Utah, or it was something like that. But basically like this could be your commute. And it just has like mountains, wide open. And she goes, I looked at it and I had chills and I knew I had to reach out to you. And I was like, oh, That's so awesome. And so that's exactly what we want for you, is to be having your ideal client literally just like, hey, can you help me? Like, we're ready to buy in the next whatever. Oh yeah, by the way, our price, we're looking at, 850 to $1.2 million homes. I'm like, yes. Right? We all are like, yes, that's exactly what we want. So the reality is, and if I were to go back 3.5 years ago when I started my account, navigating Instagram has literally never been easier. And I think about all the automations I'm going to be sharing with you today, some of the automations that I am currently using. And just by having some of these automations set up, the engagement is so much higher. The amount of followers that I'm gaining every single month has like exponentially increased because of some of these different things. So the challenge is trying to figure out how to achieve it when you're already committed to your full-time job, right? Raise your hand if you're like, I already have a full-time job. Like, trying to take on social media is the last thing I really want to do. That for sure was me. Some of you guys have heard, but when my husband and I, years and years and years ago, when I got my real estate license, Eric told me, he's like, Mariah, you should really get a Facebook account. And I was like, oh, social media is just really not my thing. And I'm good. I'm good. And he's like, no, you really just need to have some kind of social media presence. And it wasn't like he was on all the time at all. So one day, just like a good husband would do, he got on Facebook, he set me up with an account, comes and presents it to me like, hey, Mariah, I got you a Facebook account. I was like, what? Why? Like, why would you do that? I don't want to be on there. And he's like, well, you don't have to be on there, but it's just like your name is floating out there somewhere, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh. So fast forward to where we are today, 3.5 years ago, when my family and I moved from California here to Utah. I knew that I wanted to rebuild my business. We moved to a new to us city, and so I didn't know anybody. And just by posting stuff on Instagram, the amount, like the audience that you can reach is unbelievable. So here are a couple of some of the quickest ways to build your real estate brand. And I know everybody talks about consistency, but sometimes that word consistency gets lost in like, well, what exact, like, okay, great, I have to post often, but what exactly are you trying to be consistent on? Here on the left-hand side, these are some of the things. And again, trying to like not get overwhelmed with it, but when you're being consistent, like if you look at somebody's feed that you really like, and this is what I always say, if you are going back to the beginning, if you're going back to the basics, let's pretend you have nothing on your Instagram account and you're starting fresh. The first thing I would do is go look at different accounts that resonate with you. How are they building? What are they posting? How, what does this look like? And from there, you can start developing a consistency just with like, oh, I like what they're posting. Okay, so if they're posting pictures of beautiful homes, then maybe I need to start touring more of those homes. If they show up every single day, maybe you don't show up every single day, but maybe it's 3 days a week, or maybe it's 4 days a week, or maybe it's once a week, whatever it is, but just start to develop that habit and that pattern of whatever it is. Same thing goes for keywords. Whatever your city, whatever your state is, that should come up in your feed regularly of where you live. So if you're in, North Carolina, it should be like North Carolina, like curious to know what $500,000 can buy you in North Carolina. Hey, are you curious what $1 million can buy you in North Carolina? Oh, hey, look at, I'm out driving in North Carolina. Everything that you are doing should be going back to those keywords of city, state, where you live. Does that make sense so far? I know I'm kind of just like going. Questions so far? Sorry, let me see if I can see the chat here. Okay. The same thing goes for hashtags. I was auditing one of somebody that I coach, and they wanted me to go through their Instagram account. And I've actually done this quite a bit recently with some of the coaching clients that I have right now. And they're like, Mariah, I don't even know where to start. Like, will you just take a look at my account and just audit it? This one here, hashtags. Now I know some people say like, oh, hashtags are kind of a thing of the past. I'm telling you, so many people can find your account if your hashtag has to deal with your city, your state, selling Salt Lake City, selling North Carolina, selling Raleigh, selling that, right? If your hashtags connect you back to a certain place, you will have a better chance of showing up in people's feeds that you want to be in. Same thing, style, follow similar accounts. If there's other accounts that you see that are doing what you want to do, follow them, get to know them. And the more you comment on their things, there's a better chance that they will probably comment on your things as well. Same thing with your tone, your editing. And then I always say trending audio at the end. I'll show you kind of my Reels recipe of like the formula that I use for my Reels on that. Same thing, one last thing on this is your profile. And I talk about this a lot, and I'm going to be opening up a group coaching in the month of March. So if you're interested in any of this, we'll go through specifically. I can audit your accounts. I can look to see what's working, what's not, what I would change. But recently, one of my coaching clients, we were looking at her account and we had no idea, so just by first looking at it, we didn't know what city, what state, what she sells, so you really want to get clear on what area you're serving. Okay. All right. Next, once we get really clear on who we're serving, then we want to discuss the leads. A lead only becomes valuable when you're able to take them off of the app. So whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, you can have 1 million followers, but if you're not able to capture their information or to be able to have some kind of connection with them, it's almost like there's no real purpose to having all of these followers or all of these subscribers until you're able to get them off the app. Now you might say, how do you get them off the app? Great question. Drop in the chat if you have an idea of how you're able to take somebody off of the app. Any ideas? Any ideas? Offering a freebie. Perfect. Excellent. That's it. Offer something for free. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Jody Moore. She has a podcast called Better Than Happy. And in her podcast, my mom was just telling me over Christmas break, she's like, Mariah, did you listen to Jody Moore's latest podcast on the power of a dream? And I said, no, I haven't, Mom, but should I? She's like, absolutely. So if you haven't listened to Power of a Dream, you should listen to it. And Jody Moore is a life coach. And so completely different realm than what we are in, with real estate. But when Jody was talking about the power of dreams, she had this dream to be able to speak at this conference and to write a book and to do all these big things. And the first thing that she did, she had listened to Amy Porterfield, and Amy Porterfield is really big into online marketing and building your database and building your email list. Well, one of the things that Jody Moore mentioned, she's like, so I started following Amy Porterfield and I went down this rabbit hole. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I need a freebie. And so Jody Moore launches this freebie, and it's, in her own words, it's very funny to listen to it, but she offers a freebie and she ends up getting her first coaching call and her first coaching client through this freebie who felt like they resonated. So for us as real estate agents, we typically are going to be working with 4 different types of clients, right? 4 different types. We're either working with buyers, we're working with sellers, Sometimes we get a 2-for-1, which is always super fun when you can both help them in the buy and the sell. We're helping with new construction and then referrals. So the larger your network is in terms of, whatever you're able to capture, your referrals can end up being, agents from all over the country. And so being able to figure out who you're going to be speaking to on your app is really important. So here's the next one. Why should your clients care and how are you addressing their needs? So just like it was mentioned, a freebie. So you want to have some kind of free resource that you can give to your clients, or not even your clients. These are potential leads. So to attract your potential clients, you are going to share some kind of important information or some kind of information that you can connect with them via email. And the goal, eventually would be to have, have them as a buy or a sell. So in order to do that, and this is really funny. Same thing. I've been using this strategy with my YouTube channels as well. I've got a few different YouTube channels. And now, like when I'm speaking in my videos and when I'm talking in my videos, I have a moving to Salt Lake City, Utah guide. I have a moving to Park City, Utah guide. And so in my videos, I'll just say something like, oh, and hey, by the way, if you are looking at making a move or relocating here to the Salt Lake City, Utah area, comment down below the word guide and I will send you a copy of my free moving to Salt Lake City, Utah guide. And when you do this, I'm telling you, I've had probably, and I really have just started doing this more within the last, I want to say 4 or 5 months. And probably at least 40 to 50 people have opted in to that. So those are just like free leads of people who are like, oh, they're raising their hand of, hey, I'm interested in this. So if you build it, they will come. Now, one of the first things that I kept thinking in the beginning where I was like, how am I going to build these? Like, how am I going to build these things? Where do I get this? How do I do this? Okay, number one, if you go to Etsy, Etsy has not free, but like you can buy a template for a new home construction guide. You probably already have your buyer's guide. You probably already have your seller's guide. If you don't, same thing, have a buyer's guide, have a seller's guide, put it on Canva, make it so you can make it an easy, like downloadable, you can share it really easy. That's something you're definitely going to want. Same thing goes for a new home construction guide. You can get that on Etsy too, where you can make it work for you and you can edit those yourself. So the goal is to make things simple. Okay. If you have been following me for a little while on Instagram, and even if you registered for this class through Instagram, you may have noticed an automation that popped up. So here is my formula. This is what I have been doing. The first thing that I do is I develop a lead magnet. So like I said, I've got tons of different lead magnets now. So I've got one that is a new home construction guide. I've got one just through my brokerage. We have, and you might have this too through your CRM or whatever program you're using. What we have, like I use KV Core, and one thing that I can do if I have a listing or if I want to share somebody else's listing, I can take that listing and I can create what's called a squeeze page. Now I know this might sound complicated. It's really not. It's just a click of a button. Like, I want to share this property. You click it, there's a link for it. And with that link, I can share that link out. And so whether it's a new home construction guide, whether it's sharing a property, whether it's you're moving to Salt Lake City, Utah guide, whether it is how to hire a realtor, whatever it is, just come up with one lead magnet to begin with. Just come up with one. Over the months, over the years, you'll end up coming up with other ones. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you are going to make an automation using what's called ManyChat. And ManyChat is one of the coolest automations. Raise your hand if you've either heard of ManyChat or if you're using ManyChat right now. Okay. So it looks like, okay, looks like a few of us. Awesome. So if you've used ManyChat, what, like, those of you who are using it right now, what's your experience been? Have you guys had a good experience with it? Have you not? Is it working? Is it not? Share with me a little bit about that. Just curious how that's going for you. Let's see, anything in the chat here? Okay, so maybe, okay, spend a day trying to figure it out, got frustrated, need to circle back. Good, yep. Love that. Okay, and just like anything, this actually kind of reminds me, the first 3, 4, 5 times I tried ManyChat in the very beginning too, it felt a little bit like, okay, this is new, I don't know what I'm doing. I've not used it yet, just started looking into it and Flowdesk. Looks like I've got a lot to learn. Okay, awesome. My son, this is a little side note, but kind of goes along with the same thing of feeling like frustrated and all of that. Basketball season just started here in Utah like a month ago. And my oldest son, he's 13. He wanted to be signed up. We signed him up for basketball. He literally has not touched a basketball in 11 months. Like soccer is kind of his thing. He does soccer, but has not touched a basketball in 11 months. So he goes out for his first practice and he's just like, he comes home and of course I'm, watching practice and he's like, Mom, I was tragic out there. Like, I mean, beyond tragic. And I was like, well, sweetheart, when's the last time you shot a basketball? And he's like, well, I don't know. It was like last season. And I'm like, okay, so let's just like give yourself like a little bit of grace because you've taken a few months off here. So let's just like regroup. The same thing goes for ManyChat. All these things are going to feel uncomfortable at first because you haven't done it. You haven't like, it takes a moment, but once you do it and you keep doing it, you literally will be like, oh my gosh, this is answering like the thing with ManyChat that's so awesome is it's an automatic thing. So when somebody comments, it's automatic. So what ends up happening is because there's those quick responses, the algorithm is like, oh my gosh, look at all these people are commenting. And then somebody else comments, and then there's another comment, and then somebody comments, and then there's another comment. And so you just have this constant, you just have all these constant comments. Have you found ManyChat to be reliable? I've heard mixed reviews. That's such a good question. So with ManyChat, for me in the beginning, because I didn't know what I didn't know, like I didn't know how to use it. So I went on YouTube, I watched several videos on it too, of just like, okay, now I've got it down and I have this much of ManyChat. There are so many different things that you can do with it. In the beginning, for me, it was a little bit hit and miss. There's a free version of it. And the free version, once you get to a certain number of contacts, then it will stop working until you pay for like the pro version. And I think it's maybe $25 a month. So it just kind of depends on where you're at, but you can start this all for free today. And I'm telling you, it could change the game. So number 1 is the lead magnet. Number 2 is the automation with ManyChat. And then once you do that, you can continue using the same ManyChat automations over and over and over again. So let me give you just a tiny snapshot of what this looks like. And this is one that I did, I don't know, 7 weeks ago. And basically what you would do, and this actually probably is even, yeah, this one works. But what ends up happening is how to hire a realtor. Just curious, are you thinking about buying or selling a home this upcoming year? Great news. Basically, I'm saying I'm connected with real estate agents all over the country. I can help. If you comment this word, realtor, I'll send you my free guide of how to hire a realtor. So on here, there were lots of different likes. There's lots of different, and so what ends up happening is by them just, putting the one word in there, it automatically populates with the link. It gives them the link and they can, they can get to where they need to go after that. But it's pretty amazing once it's set up. So if you haven't set it up, my recommendation would be sometime this week, sometime next week, sometime when you're just like, you know what, I'm going to give myself an hour right now to just set it up. And then it's going to be okay. Just give yourself a minute and then you can come back to it. You don't have to do it all in one thing. And here's the truth. The truth is most people probably will not be commenting on your first 10, 15, 20 posts maybe anyway, right? So give yourself time and you don't have to have it all figured out right from the get-go. And I love sharing bloopers and I love sharing the mistakes that I've made too. Like I'm on one thing I'm saying comment realtor, on the other thing I'm saying comment guide. And some people are commenting guide and some people are commenting realtor and it's not working because I don't have the right thing set up. It happens. And honestly, it's just the cost of doing business. So just know that you might make mistakes along the way. It's okay. But having something like this will be really, really useful. So if you create a mini chat account, connect it to your Facebook account, select the automation template. And this is what the automation template looks like. This is the one that I have been using for mine. Again, all of this is free. And I don't get anything for any of this. This is all just, it's free that you can start with. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is you are going to choose a keyword for each of your lead magnets. So you don't have to feel like you have to run out and recreate some big, huge thing today. Hopefully each of you have like a buyer's guide or a seller's guide or something free that you can give away. If you don't have anything free, I would highly recommend just going to Etsy today, buy something for $5 to $10, put your branding, put your logo on it, and do all that. And all of a sudden you have a freebie or whatever it is that you're good at. There are a lot of ladies in my group. Some are great at investing. Some are great at social media. Some are great at whatever it is that you feel like you're good at, lean into it and offer something that's free. Jody Moore, when she was giving her freebie away, her freebie was 3 tips to help moms that might be like struggling, right? And so it was a little video that was just like, hey, you might be struggling like me with all these kids, right? Here are 3 tips to help moms like you and I, right? And she had people opting into this freebie, which was a little video. So it doesn't even have to be like, it could be a small video. It could be whatever it is. So you're going to choose the keyword for each lead magnet. And then from that, then you're going to put that word on anything, like any reel, any post that you want people to comment on. And the strategy works over and over and over. So like for some of you, you may have opted into this course by, I don't even remember, maybe it was IG or Instagram or something like that I had on here, like comment IG below. I could do 85 more reels and have them, have the word be comment IG, and any reel that I put on there. And if you comment IG, that info that I put in there will be pushed out to you. I can always change the lead magnets. I can always change the automations. This looks a tad bit fuzzy, but it's because I needed to try to blow it up a little bit. And this just kind of gives you can take a screenshot of this, but in a small nutshell, again, if you're interested in more coaching on this, I'm kind of just scratching the surface of this. I'm opening up a 3-week coaching class. It's going to be 45-minute sessions. I'm going to walk through exactly like how to do this, how to set up these different things so that you can be off and running. I'm even offering like free lead magnets that you can have a copy of, like my new home construction guide. You just need to put your pictures in there and your information, right? Different stuff like that. Number 1 is the trigger. So basically you are going to have a reel or a post and there's going to be a comment. So you basically are just going to click on that. The second thing you're going to do is once you have that, whatever your new trigger is, you get to click in this box and you get to change the wording to whatever it is that you want to put in here. So it might be, Hey, so you're thinking about building your business on Instagram? Great. Well, today I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks for you on how to build without burnout. Click here to, to join my workshop, right? So you get to change this, you get to change that wording on there. And on this button here, you can see there's a little link. So on that link, it's going to link you to somewhere. So again, all of this can be free. It can link you if you have a Linktree account or a milkshake account or a stand store. Stand store you do have to pay for. So like mine, I don't even remember how much I pay for it. I think a couple $100 a month, or I mean a year for it. But it just makes it easy to keep in touch with people. So if you want to do it the free version, you can set up your Linktree account and you can have somebody click here, and on Linktree, you can have them get your free, you can have them get their free lead magnet just from going there. So that's an option. Step number 3, right here where it says freebie, you get to change the word to whatever it is that you want to put in here. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Realtor, whatever it is that you want to put in there. And then last but not least, right here, this is basically the link that you're going to link it to wherever you want. So maybe you want them to link it to your YouTube channel. Maybe you want them to link it to your website. Maybe you want to link it to wherever you want them to go. That is where you will end up linking your thing to. So it's basically just these 4 steps. And in the beginning, it feels a little bit overwhelming because it's new. We haven't put in the reps yet. We haven't done it. So usually, I don't know about you, but for me, anything that I have not done or familiar with, I'm uncomfortable, right? And so, but once you do it a few times and then you do it a few more times, you keep doing it, you're like, oh, there's 4 steps. Choose this, change this, put in your word, and put in whatever website or wherever you want to link them to. Rinse, repeat, over and over again. It's amazing, and it will literally change your Instagram account if you are consistently posting and doing things like that. So let's get creative and start generating, content. So here is my formula for how I do all of my reels. And I want to say maybe it was 2 years ago. I think my account maybe had like, I don't know, 10,000 followers or something, which seems like a huge number. And I remember one day I was like telling my husband, like, oh my gosh, if I could just get to 10,000 followers and get that little link that I could link people to, like, I could have, like, I'll have made it, right? Feeling awesome about it. And of course, one day somebody comes up on my feed, and it was like one of these like social media gurus that basically just like trains on social media. And I was looking at what they said, and they said, do 30 reels in 30 days. And I was like, oh my gosh, 30 reels in 30 days. Like, that sounds crazy. Like, how can anybody post a video like every single day for 30 days? Like, that just sounds nuts. Well, I decided, you know what? I'll try it. So I started my 30 reels in 30 days challenge, and I didn't know all of this beforehand. And I feel like if I would have known this ahead of time, like this formula here, it would have been a game changer. So number 1 is B-roll footage. So B-roll footage is simply just video footage that you have. For me, I have thousands and thousands and thousands of B-roll footage, like just videos on my phone now, that anywhere I go. So, if I am in a model home, and people ask a lot of times, like, where do you get your videos? Every single video that I've posted on my account is from me. Like, I have taken it with my cell phone, and it works great, right? A lot of people, I mean, you can spend thousands of dollars having video editors do it, and I haven't used a video editor. It's all just on my phone. This phone is nicer than many of the other ones I've had over the years, but it started with just my iPhone and B-roll footage. So for example, if you go into, and this is what I always like to say, with wherever your area is, figure out what you want to sell. For me, I want to sell homes at a higher price point. Will I sell homes at a lower price point? Of course. But my ideal is I want to sell at a higher price point. So guess what I'm going to showcase on my account? Higher price point. So anytime I go into a home, if it's like with clients or with whatever, I'll just, here we go, 10 minute or, 10-second, 5-second. And in one house, you can take 15, 20, 30, 50 different little video clips. So the first thing is B-roll. You can have that B-roll just stay on your phone and you can just rinse and repeat, use it over and over again. The second thing is trending audio. The trending audio is that little arrow that you'll see at the bottom. If you're able to, with that trending audio, if you're able to find trending audio that's like 10,000, that's been used for 10,000 reels or below, the lower the views, the better. The second thing, if you're able to keep your video, your reel between 5 and 10 seconds long, it keeps the longer it is usually, the quicker people are going to jump off just because they're like, I don't have time for this, right? Unless it's something super engaging. The next one is your call to action, your CTA with ManyChat. So whatever it is that you want them to do, have something at the bottom of your strong hook and your long caption. So, if my hook is, hey, are you thinking about making a move here to Utah? If so, I was in your situation not that many years ago. Here's what you need to know. And then you just kind of tell them all the different things that you want to know. Comment, guide if you would like a copy of my free moving to Salt Lake City, Utah guide, and, reach out to me if you have questions, right? So you're basically telling them what to do. You're telling them that you're available and here's how you do it. So if you do this and you rinse and repeat it over and over and over again, I'm telling you, your account will grow with people just like this lady who reached out, twin mom from California, grew up in Northern California, living in Southern California, like literally everything. She just was like, how did we get connected? She goes, I feel like you're like my twin. And I'm telling you, that's not like the first time I've heard that from people of like, Mariah, I feel like we have so much in common. And that is what is so cool about social media and about like the algorithm and all that. They are connecting you with your people. They are connecting you with what you're putting out there. So depending on what you're putting out there, that's what you're going to start to experience. So why social media? Honestly, it clears the path for you and your clients. It makes it easy. It makes it super easy. I was actually out this last week, I was touring some just different lots here in Utah. Lots of people like to build homes, and I was touring some lots for some clients that I've got. And I came across this new development and they looked like large lots. They're not on the MLS. And I was like, that's so interesting. So I see this number, I see, there's a call this person. So I call the person and I just said, hey, my name's Mariah. I'm a real estate agent in the area. I've got some clients that are looking at lots here. Can you share any information with me about these lots? And he's like, oh yeah, great, no problem. What's your email? I give him my email and he's like, okay, awesome. I'll shoot that over to you. So in the email he sends to me, he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. He's like, when we were talking, you said your name was Mariah, he's like, whatever. And then he's like, I actually I thought I recognized you from Instagram, from your social media. Then he asked me if I wanted to do like a collaboration. And he's like, I don't want to put it on the MLS, but I wouldn't mind like paying you to do some social media posts. I'm telling you, like the different avenues with social media, yes, transactions are going to be like the heart of our business and the meat, but the referrals, the opportunity, like I'm telling, like the different affiliates, the different sponsors, like there are so many things that for me, I feel like I turn down 99% of them just because I'm like, I'm a wife, a mom of four. I really only want to work 15 to 20 hours a week right now. But once I, I'm not doing as much with the kids, or once the kids are more out of the house, then I'm like, oh, game up, like, let's go. But right now, I still just want to make it easy. But I'm telling you, social media can just open up so many incredible opportunities for you in your local market too. And especially if you keep posting things, use those hashtags, use those different things that will link you back to your area. It just is a matter of time. Like, it's just a matter of time. So I understand you're ready to commit to a full-time job, but let me assure you, social media has the potential to open up countless opportunities beyond your imagination. Same thing. I had this other opportunity coming up from this developer, and this developer reached out and he's like, "Hey, I've been watching you on social media for a while." He owns this whole mountain side in Utah County, and he's like, "Yeah, so I've got all these lots, and I've got just all these possibilities are coming up down the pipeline." And I'm kind of like, "Oh, okay, well, tell me a little bit more about this." Things that I would have never imagined, but people are reaching out because of social media. So I always say it's never too early and it's never too late to start whatever it is. I thought when I started 3.5 years ago, it was too late. When I started my YouTube channel, I started one YouTube channel actually just 2 months ago in another market that's in Utah. And I was like, you know what? It's working so well in my local market. I want to try it in a market that's about 3.5 hours away from me. And I thought, let's just see what happens. After 2 months, I got my first reach out from somebody that's relocating from out of state. I'm giving that as a referral to somebody else and referring out all those deals. So again, there was already plenty of YouTube channels in this one area that I'm like, okay, let's just try it. It just started. Like, whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube, whatever, wherever you think your ideal clients are, it's never too early. It's never too late to just start it, right? So I like to say, I started this in the beginning too, of a lot of this is just kind of a game. Like, use this as something that just can open more opportunities, that can open the gates for you in terms of, the digital world. And I really do feel like social media is the currency. It's like the new currency, even though we've been hearing video and get on social and do all these things, but it's bigger and larger than ever. These opportunities that are coming down are pretty huge. So it kind of goes back to that consistency piece in the beginning of figure out who you're talking to. Are you talking to buyers? Are you talking to sellers? I talk to a lot of different people, and I know some people say you have to niche so far down. Some days I talk to agents just like you. Some days I talk to buyers. Some days I talk to sellers. And sometimes sometimes it's just a personal thing of like, hey, this is what my family and I did this week, right? So I think you can niche down, but you can have kind of your different buckets. You can have your different categories of who you talk to. And if you use that ManyChat automation and you give something away for free, like, once you create it, you can just keep using that over and over and over. I had somebody email me yesterday from Iowa. He's like, "I'm 30 and my wife's 27. We have a dog. We've been watching your videos. We're thinking about moving here. Do you have, like, after we've been watching, do you have a guide of, move?" So he's asking me for my relocating to Salt Lake City, Utah guide. I've already had it done. Literally took me 1 minute to email him back and say, like, "Great, here you go. If you're thinking about making a move, reach out to me. I'd love to help," right? So all these kind of things are just, you create it once and you can just keep using it over and over and over again. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll open it up to Q&A. I've got like 10 minutes before I have to hop into another meeting. But I'll open it up to Q&A. If you want to continue on this and you are like, "Oh, this is cool," but now I want you to kind of hold my hand and show me exactly how to do this. In March, I'm going to have a 3-week Instagram masterclass. This is somebody who's ready to really take their social media presence up. Somebody who wants already done templates for you. I can give you templates that I have for that. Increase your income. If you're looking for more of community and you want to, a little bit more hands-on, this might be something that you're interested in. It's in my stand store. So if you want to register for it, I'm keeping the cost so low. I can't even tell people because they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, stop it." But I really actually just want to keep the group super small. Because if I'm able to keep it really small, then I can do more for you guys. So hopefully this is helpful. And Let's see if we have any questions in the chat. And if you do have questions, let me see if I can answer some of those. And I will stop sharing my screen. Okay. If you have a website, do you need a Linktree account? Such a good question. Absolutely not. Nope. You can keep everything wherever you want to direct your funnel is basically what it is. So if you have a website already and you have your resources on your website, have them just go there. If you don't have a website, or maybe your website, you have it through your brokerage, but it's just used for more of, finding properties, but you don't have the capability of doing other things for it, I would recommend getting a Linktree account. Do you boost your posts and reels? No, I've actually never sponsored a post, and I've never boosted a reel or a post. Like, I've never done it, which sounds crazy, but you have to know I am married to a tax accountant. I am married to a CPA who, like, when I first started all these different things, and I'm like, oh, Eric, look at, I could do mailers, I could do this, I could do it. He's like, how much does it cost? And I'm like, well, I don't know yet. Like, I haven't really gotten into that. And he's like, well, what can you do that doesn't cost anything? He's the guy that we're planning our 20th anniversary. He wants to go to a place that has free breakfast and free parking. I want to go to a place that has valet and does not have free breakfast. So this is kind of what you're dealing with, which is great, and opposites attract and everything. But with all that being said, I think you can boost, and I think you can, push money behind that. And I think it can do a lot. Like, there's a lot of ladies in my group that do Facebook ads and all of that, and they're getting phenomenal results. So, and the same thing with Instagram. Like, I think about it, if I were to actually put some money behind any of my Instagram posts or reels, I actually would be really curious to see what would happen, because all of this is totally organic, and I've never put any money behind it. So that's a really good question. Okay, let's see. Another question. Let's see. If you have a okay. How much do you use an assistant to set up those things? Okay, another awesome question. So I actually just hired an assistant about 3 months ago, and I haven't even used her. I haven't used her to set up these things. That's like, you're already reading my mind. That's what I want them to do. Like, I want them to set up my funnels. I want them to set up that, like, I want them to set up all those things, because that'll take a lot off my plate. I'm kind of one of these people where I'm like, I kind of want to learn how to do it a little bit first and then hand it off, because it almost feels like the teacher that's never taught and goes straight into being like a principal and an administrator, and like has no sort of idea of what it's like to be in the classroom. Or same thing, the real estate agent that's never sold a home, but is now going to be a is now going to be a coach for agents on like how to sell 100 homes a year. Like, for me, it feels a little bit inauthentic if I don't know how to do any of it. So for me, I haven't used my assistant for that yet. And really what I have used my assistant for right now is just kind of getting my systems in place, more or less, of just like, okay, buyer comes in. Okay, what email gets sent out? And I use Trello to keep everything like organized and everything. So like, for me, it's like, okay, this happens, then this happens, then this, like, I just got a listing yesterday. So same thing, where it's like, instead of recreating the listing email every single time, it's like, this email goes out, then this. So for me, I've just been having her kind of clean up a lot of my systems, which feels good and long overdue. Okay. How do you find the right SEO words for reels to attract followers? Oh my gosh, you guys have the best questions. Okay. Two things. If you are looking for SEO, number one is, it's called Keywords Everywhere. Keywords Everywhere. It is a Chrome automation, or a Chrome, you call it maybe an attachment or something. And with that, you will, I think it's $10 or $15 a year, but it will get you like 100,000 words. I've had mine for a year and I think I have used I think I still have like 70,000 words that I can use. So on this keywords everywhere, you can type in moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, right? And what will happen on the right-hand side, it will populate how many people are searching that a month, and it will show you the different search volume. Same thing if you were to type in whatever it is, whatever keywords you're looking for, type it in, and then same thing. So I bought that, game changer. You can put those keywords in your posts, you can put them on screens on your text. Amazing. Second thing is called TubeBuddy, TUBE, and then BUDDY. TubeBuddy is another thing. If you're using more of, it's geared more for YouTube, which TubeBuddy, yep, makes sense. Geared more for YouTube, but it's the same sort of idea. So if you're primarily wanting to use your keywords for Instagram, highly recommend keywords everywhere. If you've got your YouTube channel up and running and you want to do more with that, I would go with TubeBuddy because that'll give you a lot of different things with that. Okay, what's the easiest and fastest way to find trending audio under 10,000 reels? Such a good question. Okay, so one of the easiest ways to do this is to be able to go to my account, and on any of my reels that have been done in the last, I don't know, probably 10 days or something, I post a reel a day now. So click on my trending audio. So if you go to my reel, I don't know if you can even see this, but let's see. Okay, so if you were to go to one of my reels here, and let's just click this, okay? At the very, very bottom, if you click on the little up arrow, okay, if I click on the up arrow here, okay, this one here, it has like 6,000. You might not be able to see it, but it's got like 6,000 that it's used. You can click and save it. There's that little save arrow. Click and save that. And then once you save it, you can use it. The second thing that you can do is in there's the same thing, that little up arrow. Click the up arrow, and then it's going to give you a list of all these other trending audios that you can also use. And if there's any that you see that you're like, oh, I like that, save, 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 save. So go to my account, go to somebody else's account that you know uses trending audio often, and then you can save my audio, and then you can just go to, click that little arrow, and then it'll pull up tons more. Hopefully this is helpful. Is this helpful, you guys? Okay, awesome. Let's see. How do you get people to follow and like? I constantly post and my reach doesn't seem to grow. Okay. Great question. Honestly, I don't know. Like I post twice a day, and I always post at the exact same time. Again, in my workshop too, I'll show you how I have just a schedule. I do my schedule in a month. So I have all my posts scheduled for an entire month. So I don't have to wake up and go, oh my gosh, what am I going to post today? Right. Yeah, I'm on Instagram for 30 minutes a day, and it's for finding trending audio and responding to comments or DMs. And I'm in, I'm out, I'm picking kids up. do you know what I mean? So this is kind of just like a means to an end. I probably would need to just take a peek at your account if you wanted to set up a coaching call or something to do that, and just see audit the account. I had one of my coaching clients, she reached out, she's like, same sort of thing. She wasn't sure why it wasn't gaining a lot of traction. And we looked at her account, and all the hashtags were all together. There weren't any spaces in between the hashtags. And so just by putting a space in between those hashtags, all of a sudden it was like, a month later, like, oh my gosh, I've gone from like 100 views to 2,000 views on my reels. Just something little simple things like that can be a little fix. I'm actually not a realtor. I'm a new home builder and developer. Awesome. That's so cool. Would the workshop help me as well? Absolutely. Not wanting to put things on the MLS if possible. Nope, I hear you. That's totally good. Actually, one of my coaching clients right now, she's a builder as well, and wanting to, increase her following and everything. I feel like the hardest thing for me is coming up with something to say in the captions, and I get really stuck on adding value. Okay, great question too. So another thing in terms of, again, you want to be personable, but you can leverage AI too, like ChatGPT. If you are feeling like, I don't know, like if you have some ideas, take the ideas and then say expand this in the tone of somebody that you resonate. Expand this in the tone of Mel Robbins, right? Or whatever it is, whoever you feel like you land well with. Expand that in there, and then at least it can give you some ideas. Maybe you're not going to use the word like, well, I'm delving into this, and like some of these words that maybe you would never use, but it could give you an idea. Same thing, like maybe in ChatGPT, you type in something like, I'm a real estate agent in Utah. I am looking for 15 topics that I consistently can talk about on Instagram, relating to buyers and sellers. Please provide, those kind of different things. So if you're really kind of specific on what you're looking for, it will give you some phenomenal ideas of, adding value, sharing things. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions that you have for me? These were such good questions, you guys. This is awesome. And hopefully you found this to be helpful. And if if you want to join my coaching, great. If you have other questions later on down the road, please ask. Have you bought followers or likes? Never, never, never. My husband would if I had spent anything on it. So nope, I've never bought a follower. I've never bought a like. And actually the funny thing is now I get so many DMs of like, here, let me boost your, let me give you 50,000 likes and let me give you this and this. Every time I see one of those, I block, 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 block. Honestly, some of those things have destroyed people's accounts by buying likes, buying follows, doing all of that. So I highly recommend not doing any of that. And one of the best things that you can do really though is just keep engaging on people's accounts. Comment on 10 people's accounts a day that you would either want to do business with, are doing business with, hope to do business with someday, and just be engaged. It can take you 2 minutes. I mean, a lot of times I'll just set my watch and be like, okay, I've got 2 minutes to do this. Like, let's see how many accounts I can, comment on, and, I want to get to my 10 or whatever that is. So hopefully that helps. Oh, we got a few more questions. Let's see. Remind me of the 2 websites for SEO. Yep, for sure. First one is Keywords Everywhere, and it's a Chrome extension, Keywords Everywhere. And I think it's like $10 or $15 for the year, and it gives you 100,000 words, I think is what it is. I use it every single day to find keywords, and I'm not even close to even using half of mine. The second one's called Tube, Tube, Buddy, TubeBuddy. And that's really good for really good for like YouTube and stuff too. The 30 reels. Okay, so you know who it was? It came back to me. Brock Johnson. I don't know if any of you guys have ever followed him. He actually lived in California and moved, of course, to Park City. and is this like kind of young hip guy, and he gives some great ideas. And I think that was 2 years ago that it was the Reels challenge. He didn't charge anything for it. It literally was just like, hey guys, like let's post 30 reels in 30 days. Like this is gonna be awesome. And I was like, this guy's crazy, but okay, I'll try it. Like that sounds really hard, but I'll do it. So that was that. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Good. I'm so glad this is helpful, you guys. That's awesome. Yay, Atlanta. So good. Awesome. If you're doing anything right now, how long do you think it takes to gain traction if you're doing everything? Okay. Honestly, I think it depends on what you post. I think it depends how often you post. And I think it depends on like the content that you post. So there's some things that people are like, I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that. There's other things that I think people are like, okay, like just move on through. But if you use that kind of formula, the trending audio, the B-roll, you keep it short, you use keywords, like you do some of those different things. Again, it's going to feel uncomfortable in the beginning just because maybe you haven't done it, or maybe you haven't done it consistently. But once you start, going, and this is the thing too, even like, I know my account right now has gotten so many followers, which is so crazy, but I feel like almost when it was a smaller account, in some ways I was getting more traction. I think I ended up getting my first listing here in Utah when I maybe had, like, it was only a couple hundred followers. It was a couple hundred followers, and they were like, I see that you have, I see that you sell in both Utah and California, and I'm interested in you listing my house. And I was like, oh, Eric, this is how it happens. Like, this is so crazy. And it was just a couple hundred. But what honestly ends up happening is it exponentially grows. It's kind of like, I feel like with anything, like whether it's in your business or whether like it just starts exponentially taking off. Is the same thing like when I told my husband, I was like, hey, Eric, I really want to run a marathon. He's like, what? You've never run more than like 3 miles. Like, why a marathon? That sounds crazy. I'm like, I don't know, about 26.2 miles sounds amazing. Like I'm going to do it. I have no idea where to start. But then it was like, okay, well, let me get the guide and let me start training. And like this week I'm running 2 miles here and 3 miles here and 2 miles here. And then the next week it's like 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, you know what I mean? So it's like, it just builds. I honestly think the same thing with Instagram. I went from like every single follower that followed me, I was like, oh, look at Becky followed me. Oh, look at it's Susie, right? I have no idea. Now I go from sometimes like I'll gain 4,000 to 6,000 followers in a month. I have no idea who's following me or what, unless they're consistently like commenting on my stuff. And if they comment on my stuff regularly, there's a good chance I'll probably go and I'll probably look at their stuff and be like, oh, look at it, it's Becky. Hey, look how cute. Oh, this is great. But unless somebody's like engaging a lot, I'm in and out on the app, really, which I know probably I could do a lot more. There's a lady that's in our group. She has a phenomenal following and a phenomenal account. She is on the app about 5 to 6 hours a day, but she's doing 35 to 50 plus million a year too. So I honestly, like, I think it just depends on how much you're willing to spend, the time, the effort, the energy, and all that. Because like I said, for me, this started off as like a side hustle of like, we came to Utah. My husband's like, get a ski pass. I'm like, okay, that would be fun for like 2 days. And then I'm like, I want to do something else. But then I'm like, oh, I really want to like try to rebuild this business I've got, and maybe I'll try Instagram, right? And so it kind of just started off as a game of like, I don't know, we'll just post today and well, I've got 20 minutes here. Oh, I'm waiting in the carpool pickup line. Like my 4 kids are, not here yet. And so it kind of just snowballed. Let's see, how does your class work? What time, etc.? It's going to be March. It's going to be the first 3 Tuesdays in March. And basically what it's going to be is it's going to be kind of like a workshop like this, where I'm going to be sharing with you information of how to do things. The last probably 15 minutes, I'm going to open it up to Q&A. And if we have time to, if I'm happy to do like little audits depending on how many people are there. Like, hey, take a look at my account. It will be basically an hour. It's going to be 45 minutes with 15 minutes at the end. And then you know, I'll give you some templates of getting started. Like, here's a free lead magnet, like here, plug and play, like put your things in it. There's people in my group that are charging $150 for the template, like one template, and which is great. The teacher and me and the accountant and Eric, I'm like, just at this stage, I'm like, I just, in good nature, I just can't do it. All right. So when you post twice a day, is it just Instagram? Does that include Facebook? Do you use Meta? So it does push it out to Facebook. I don't do anything on Facebook. So when I post twice a day, I make a post and a reel every single day. But it started off as just a post a day. And then when I started the 30-day challenge, it went to a reel a day too. But I'm telling you, the fastest way to grow is through reels. The fastest way to grow is through reels. My posts get engagement, but nothing compared to the reels. I think for me, I'm just in the habit of putting a post and a reel in. And I'm telling you too, the number of people, like I was at a holiday party and I have this one lady that I go to church with. She's like, Mariah, can I share something kind of embarrassing? And I was like, yeah, sure. What's up? And she's like, so my husband came home from work the other day and he was like, did you know Mariah like is on Instagram and like all these different things? He's like, he's been like watching your account, these beautiful homes. Now he wants to build some other. And I was like, oh, that's so awesome. Like, I'm so glad that inspires somebody to like want to do something else. So I just think there's a lot of different avenues for it. And I do use Meta, but I honestly just like connected the two and I haven't done anything with it. So awesome. Yay. Well, I'm so glad this has been helpful. Reach out to me if you need anything or you have questions about anything. We will talk to you later. Bye, my friends. See ya.